you want to do 1 and 2 then? Or just 2?
I don't want to because we got 2 minutes right now.
Well, maybe we should start with the longer one. And then put in 1 and 2.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we were just thinking that they want to do less of a fanfare before we do that.
Yeah. Just do 2.
I think we don't have enough time. I mean, we would like to fill up a little more time. We do.
Sure, what are we doing? 1?
So 1 is
You
up.
want to do 2 first?
I don't care.
Why don't we do 1
1
and
is
2?
up.
All right.
It's just short.
End on a lot of G's, don't we? I think we're playing, but I think we're playing 2 now. It's 2. Yes.
Okay, Neil. Go away from
Thank you.
Recession.
And then how Minnesota's right up after that. Oh, it's not.
It's at the very end.
Oh, isn't that like I didn't pay
Just before.
Yeah.
All right. Concert. Concert. Yeah, hold on. Page 15.
Let me get my wallet.
Good morning. Welcome. Please be seated. I'm Gary Jenkins, Dean of the University of Minnesota Law School, and I'm delighted to see all of you here today for the law school's 135th commencement ceremony. Graduates, you are the 135th class to complete a legal education at Minnesota's oldest and finest law school. Congratulations. On behalf of my colleagues, let me be the first to offer many official congratulations. We are here today to celebrate as you commence your careers in the law. Before we begin our program, I'd like to invite all of you to join me in thanking the events and facility staff from the law school in Northrop and all of the volunteers from the law school who worked so hard to prepare this event so beautifully. Let's thank them. We are also so pleased that so many family members and friends could join us for this celebration today, from near and far, from Minnesota and all over the world, both in person and watching online. I want to recognize some special guests who are joining us in person for this celebration. And first, I'd like to recognize two distinguished alumni lawyer leaders. Our keynote speaker, Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, a member of the class of 1990. Welcome, Attorney General Ellison. I will introduce him more fully later in the ceremonies. I'd also like to welcome University Regent Janie Mayron, class of '76, who will later confer degrees on our graduates. Regent Mayron is known to many of us as Judge Mayron because she is a retired federal magistrate judge who served with great distinction on the U.S. District Court for the District of Minnesota for 14 years. She's a double gopher. She received her BA from the University of Minnesota in 1973 and a JD from our law school in 1976. She has held numerous leadership positions in a variety of nonprofit and legal organizations, including serving as president of the University of Minnesota Alumni Association. For her service to the public and to the law, Mayron received the University of Minnesota Alumni Service Award and the WCCO Good Neighbor Award. After her retirement from the bench, Regent Mayron joined the university's Board of Regents in 2019, and she's currently serving as chair of the board. Now, there are two groups joining us here today that are particularly important in the lives of our students and merit special attention and welcome. I'm talking about the family and friends who have supported our graduates through law school with their love, support, care, perhaps needed more than ever these past few years. In particular, I want to recognize the spouses, partners, children of those graduating in the class, because due to the pandemic and remote learning, many of those folks saw firsthand the rigors of the first year of law school in particular, because I know some of them made special guest appearances on Zoom on occasion. So let's give those folks a round of applause. And next, you thought I forgot about you, but I didn't. The parents of our soon-to-be lawyers. We know that this is an extraordinarily special day for you as well. The support, encouragement, sacrifices that you have made for your children, the example, the guidance that you've provided them throughout their entire lives are certainly invaluable. Thank you for your contributions to this momentous milestone in your children's lives. We are truly grateful to have you here today as well, and we congratulate all of you. Now it's my pleasure to introduce the faculty of the law school, our world-class teachers, scholar, mentors, family and friends. These are some of the people you may have heard about. Perhaps there was the story of the professor who asked your student that first terrifying Socratic question, or the professor who was mentioned in the context of a, let's call it, complicated exam, and maybe led to some second guessing. Or maybe you've heard about a treasured advisor, a mentor, an instructor who was the source of inspiration. Well, now you get to meet them. I'm going to ask everyone to hold your applause until everyone has been introduced. Faculty, I will ask that you briefly stand when I announce your name. So we're going to start with Associate Dean Tom Cotter, Assistant Dean Rashaya G., class of 13, Associate Dean Oren Gross, Assistant Dean Mitchell Zamoff, Professor Prentice Cox, Alan Erbsen, Liliana Zaragoza, Megan Walsh, Bob Stein, class of 61, Caleb Smith, Kiri Sommermeyer, Siko Shastri, class of 21, Dan Schwartz, Jean Sanderson, Kim Ronning, Myron Orfield, Fanula Neolane, William McGevern, Brett McDonald, Kristen Hickman, Charlotte Garden, Assistant Dean Jay Wong, Kara Galvin, Chris Tarosky, class of '98, Nadia Angiano, Elizabeth Betts Bentley, Brian Bix, Susanna Blumenthal, Sarah Brennis, John Choi, and Carol Chomsky. Thank you so much to our faculty for all that you've done to educate, to support, to guide this class to this moment. Now, I'm the dean, but I'm also a faculty member at heart, so that means I can never resist this last opportunity, this last chance to speak collectively with all of you, our students, who in a little more than an hour or so will become alumni and lawyers. We gather today to commemorate your graduation from law school and your transition into the legal profession and the start of what will be tremendous careers. To quote one of your important role models, Elle Woods from Legally Blonde, you did it. This commencement in particular is an especially meaningful one because let's face it, for our JD graduates, you all started your law school experience under impossible circumstances in the throes of the pandemic. Seriously, you started your 1L year in fall 2020. Some of you were entirely remote and zooming into class from across the globe. And many of you masked up but kept 6 feet apart for your perhaps maybe one in-person class held in a large auditorium or even some in a hotel ballroom down the street. And everyone was, of course, still reeling from the protest and the racial reckoning taking place both in Minneapolis and across the US that summer. As such, you had to build your law school support system, your community here, with constraints like no other class before you, yet also with a deeper understanding of the urgency of addressing injustice. What I saw from all of you has been inspiring and humbling. Despite many challenges, we saw your ability to care for and lift each other up. We learned about your ability to weather whatever circumstances are thrown at you. We saw your intense drive to improve the world around you and make a difference now, both in your individual communities and in your Minnesota law community. We saw resilience and drive. And as you and I both prepare to leave Minnesota law, I will forever be grateful to all of you for your care for this law school community and for the work that we did together to address challenges and make a difference here. Thank you for your care, your voice, your advocacy, and your collaboration. Your impact has been felt. It has been felt in Mondale Hall, in the Twin Cities, and far from Minnesota. Our law school matters because you matter. Nearly 3 years ago, on Zoom for the JD students, or earlier this year for our LLM or MSPL students, I told you that law school would be one of the most rewarding and challenging times of your life. and what a time it's been. But despite all that you've endured, you are here today as a class, ready to begin a new journey and ready to start to make an impact on the world. When you look back on law school, I hope you remember that your success was hard-earned, that you were full participants in the expansion of knowledge of law and legal institutions, that you enriched the law school and the broader community through your engagement, through your pro bono service, through your contributions. You worked hard, but I've got some news. Your hard work isn't over. In fact, it's really just beginning. Even this summer, there's job search for some and bar study for all. I'm going to emphasize that, bar study for all. Yet, in a few short months after you pass that bar, each of you will put your Minnesota law degree to work, as have generations of Minnesota law lawyers before you. Some of you will be taking on representation of individuals. You'll be advocating for people with rights to protect. Others will work on behalf of corporations and other commercial entities, promoting innovation and prosperity. Still others will pursue careers in public interest, working for government or nonprofit organizations to improve and protect society. About 2/3 of you will begin your career right here in Minnesota, but each of you, no matter where you go, will carry on our distinguished legacy of leadership and service. No matter the practice area, the setting, the location, you will have a license to problem solve, an ability to make a difference, to be part of a great tradition of lawyers who have confronted the novel and urgent challenges of their day. You will pick up that baton. And it's a daunting task. People's lives will be at stake. Rights and liberties may be on the line. Major organizations and influential entities will count on you. Someone may be turning to you to advise them of something that's critically important to them. It's heady, it's scary stuff. Earlier I mentioned that this was the law school's 135th commencement, so that means there were 134 classes to graduate before you. And each of those graduating classes entered into a world that was changing. Sometimes their world was changing in dramatic ways, sometimes in sad or scary ways, sometimes in good ways. But no matter the time, no matter what was driving societal change, world wars, economic upheavals, racial justice struggles, new global threats, technological challenges, climate change, reconsideration of what have long been considered fundamental freedoms. No matter the change, no matter the fear that comes with uncertainty, we need not be afraid. We need not fear because we are lawyers. You need not be afraid because you went to Minnesota law. Our society has always relied on lawyers to lead the way. Lawyer leaders, perhaps? I'm not saying that, though, because I think lawyers have the magical answers to the challenges of the day. But I say that because the skills, the talent, the ability to be part of a collective solution does come with being a lawyer. To help people, organizations, communities come together to tackle big problems. And Minnesota law graduates have long been at the top of the profession. On days like today, I like to think about past graduates and what they must have been thinking and feeling on their graduation day. What were the challenges that animated them? What were the issues of their day that made them angry? What motivated them to make their mark? Did any of those previous 134 classes fully appreciate the role that they would play in addressing the major issues during their lifetime? I'm guessing the answer is probably not. But history tells us that they did play a role, because lawyers always do. And history tells us that you will play a role in changes that we will see over the decades to come. You will be there, you will be in the room where it happens. Your Minnesota law education has equipped you with the knowledge, the skills, the motivation to make a difference and speak out on issues of importance. You surely brought the talent, and you have built on that talent, now with sharpened skills and an education nurtured and developed under the guidance of our faculty, and through the many challenges you have all faced. Now you are ready to make the world better. Now, to do that, graduates, stay on your path, the one that's right for you, not someone else. Stay committed to a lifetime of learning. Stay healthy. Tend to your well-being. Stay engaged in the issues that matter most to you. Take good care of yourselves, your families, your friends, your institutions, including your alma mater. No matter where your path leads, Minnesota will always be a part of you, and you a part of us. When I reflect on your class, our 3 years together, I'm optimistic. I'm excited about the future of our profession, our institutions, our communities. The world needs more of our special brand of lawyer leaders, astute problem solvers, consensus builders, who have a generous heaping of integrity and common sense. I'm so proud to be seeing you off on your journey, and I look forward to seeing the great things that you will achieve. Yesterday, I spoke with many of you at the reception that we had over in Mondale Hall, and we talked about your experience here, and I heard how you all are so appreciative for your classmates and friends that you've made for life. Some of you talked about the scholarship funding that made a difference in your lives. Some of you spoke about the faculty who have challenged and inspired you. Others talked about the professional opportunities that you've had during your time here or that you have ahead of you. I heard gratitude for our staff who have supported you and participated in your educational and professional development. But I want to be clear that this institution is grateful to each of you as well. I know I speak for all of my faculty and staff colleagues when I say that having you here has been a true privilege for us. And that goes for our LLM students. You have been important members of our community, contributing to the classroom discussions with your knowledge of other legal systems as you learned about ours. You help us be a more global, a more diverse learning institution, which helps contribute to our excellence. To our Masters of Science in Patent Law students, you are small in number, but mighty in talent. You press us to think deeply about the policy and practice and what's next in intellectual property and technology. And to our JDs, your drive, your energy, your esprit de corps have ensured that we are a community that continues to thrive and push ourselves to be better, a community like no other. For 3 years, you brought all of yourselves into this place, and we are better for it. For all of you, please know that Minnesota law will remain one of your communities. It will always be home. Come back, visit, see your mentors, your professors, introduce yourselves to new students, and give them guidance and a helping hand. Stay connected with one another. Take care of the institution. Thank you all for choosing Minnesota law. and allowing us to study law with you. I can't wait to see what you do. Congratulations. It is now my privilege to present the Faculty Teaching Awards for the academic year. Stanley V. Kenyon graduated from Minnesota Law in 1933 and was on the faculty for 40 years. He was a recognized scholar in the field of commercial law and known as a friend of students inside and outside of the classroom. In his honor, his family and friends endowed the Stanley V. Kenyon Awards in Teaching. We have 3 recipients. From the clinical faculty, the first Kenyon Award goes to Professor Jane Ann Murray. Professor Jane Ann Murray joined the law school in 2011 and became an associate clinical professor in 2022. She directs the Clemency Clinic, which advocates for inmates serving disproportionately long prison sentences in federal and state prisons. She serves on the board of the National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers, where she co-chairs its task force on sentencing. In nominating Professor Murray, students noted she is, quote, dedicated, hardworking, principled, and always willing to help students, with one student writing that Professor Murray has changed the outlook of my entire law school experience. Unfortunately, Jane Ann couldn't be with us today, but we want to wish her a hearty congratulations on this award. The next award goes to a member of the skills, adjunct, or other professional faculty. And this year, the Kenyon Award goes to Professor Kiri Sommermeyer. Come, please join me, Kiri. Kiri has just joined the law school in summer of 2022, and she serves as the executive director of the Corporate Institute, where she teaches the Business Law Clinic and oversees the corporate externship program. She is co-chair of the Minnesota State Bar Association Access to Justice Committee and on the board of directors of the Volunteer Lawyers Network. In nominating Professor Sommermeyer, students noted in her first year, Professor Sommermeyer has already made an incredible impact. She has organized excellent and successful events. She has brought in lots of exciting clients and supervising attorneys, and she is incredibly friendly and approachable. Being part of the Business Law Clinic has truly been the highlight of law school. Congratulations. From the tenure track faculty, the final recipient of the Kenyon Award is Professor Dan Schwartz. Professor Daniel Schwartz joined the law school faculty in 2007. He teaches and writes in the areas of insurance law, consumer protection, and the regulation of financial institutions. He is a member of the prestigious American Law Institute. In 2017, was awarded the highly prestigious American Law Institute's Early Career Scholars Medal. And in nominating Professor Schwartz, students noted he is an incredibly dedicated and passionate teacher who is always willing to help students and the law school community. Congratulations to Dan Schwartz. Now, today, We are honoring all of the members of the class of 2023 for their achievements. But I do want to draw your attention to the commencement program that recognizes many of our student award winners and major community contributors. I hope that you will have picked up a copy or downloaded the commencement program. It is a pleasure to celebrate your achievements and efforts. At this point in the ceremony, we do want to honor a few students for especially distinguished academic, leadership, and service achievements and contributions to the law school. I am now pleased to introduce a member of the graduating class, Eric Locker, who will present awards to 4 outstanding students who have been selected by their classmates. Eric will present the Excellence in Public Service Award and the Most Outstanding Contribution Award. Eric is a classically trained singer before law school. He received his bachelor's from Michigan State University. In law school, Eric served as the Law Council president. He was a structured study group student instructor, a national moot court student director, representative for the Latinx Law Student Association, musical director for tort, and a member of the student-created Dean of Diversity Committee. And after law school, Eric will join the law firm of Hush Blackwell in Milwaukee. Over to you, Eric.
Thank you, Dean Jenkins. And thank you to all my classmates in the class of 2023 for nominating and voting for your peers for these awards. It is my absolute pleasure to introduce this year's award winners to you. First is the Excellence in Public Service Award. This award is presented to the student who most exemplifies a commitment to public service during law school through participation in both formal and informal public service roles in the law school and in the legal community. I am honored to announce that the recipient of this year's Excellence in Public Service Award is Madeline Cox Guerra. Madeline has spent her time in law school committed to public service. She is the president of the Minnesota Justice Foundation Student Chapter, the lead online editor for the Journal of Law and Inequality, a student board representative for the Minnesota Hispanic Bar Association, and previous co-president of the Latinx Law Students Association. Madeline is incredibly thankful for support from her family, friends, and mentors for helping her on her journey to becoming a public interest lawyer. Please join me in congratulating Madeline. Next, it is my honor to present the Most Outstanding Contribution Award. This award recognizes the student who contributed the most to the graduating class through involvement in academic programs, leadership in extracurricular activities, and enhancement of the law school experience. I am thrilled to present the recipient of this year's Most Outstanding Contribution Award, Mercedes Molina. During her time at Mondale Hall, Mercedes has sought to promote diversity, equity, and fairness. Mercedes served as editor-in-chief of Volume 41 of the Minnesota Journal of Law and Inequality, co-president of the Latinx Law Students Association, on the executive board of the UMN chapter of the National Lawyers Guild, and as a member of the student-created Dean of Diversity Committee. Mercedes wants to thank her family, friends, and peers for their support throughout this journey, especially her parents, Connie R. Molina and Javier Molina Sr., whose unwavering encouragement made her who she is today. Thank you, Madeline and Mercedes. Of course, these two award recipients represent only a fraction of the outstanding work that has been done by so many of our classmates in public service and in the law school community. So many of us have gone above and beyond in our time at the law school, and it has been an incredible 3 years of learning from and appreciating the work that my peers have contributed. Now I have the great pleasure of introducing my classmate, Henry Killen, who will present this year's class gift. Henry Killen is a native of Winona, Minnesota. He serves as co-chair of the law school's Student Philanthropy Board and 2023 Class Gift Campaign Committee. This fall, Henry will join Frederickson and Byron in Minneapolis as an associate in its corporate group.
Thank you, Eric, for that kind introduction, and thank you all for being here so much. It is my pleasure to present this year's class gift in my role as co-chair of the Student Philanthropy Board and Class Gift Campaign Committee. My biggest takeaway from spending 3 years on the Student Philanthropy Board is how important donor support is to our law school. I'm thankful for the generous support the school has gotten during our class's time here, and I look forward to our class supporting the law school for years to come. I'm pleased to announce that our class achieved 32% participation, unlocking matching gifts that brought us to a total gift of $1,864. Thank you to the alumni who participated and to my fellow graduates for being lawyer leaders and paying it forward. I hope you'll continue to keep the law school's important mission in mind as you leave Mondale Hall and head into a world desperate for our leadership and character. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Henry. Thank you, class of 2023. On behalf of the entire law school of generations past and future, we greatly appreciate your generosity and thoughtfulness with your class gift. The oldest student honor is awarded by a faculty committee. It's called the William B. Lockhart Award for Excellence in Scholarship, Leadership, and Service. We also recognize law school community members who have made significant contributions to advancing equity, diversity with the Equity and Diversity Awards. So I'd like to invite Rashaya G., class of 13, our Assistant Dean of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, to present the 2023 Lockhart Award and the 2023 Equity and Diversity Award.
Each year, the law school's Faculty Awards Committee selects the recipient of the William B. Lockhart Award for Excellence in Scholarship, Leadership, and Service. William B. Lockhart was the 5th dean of the law school, serving from 1956 to 1972. As dean, he enriched the curriculum and attracted leading scholars to the law school. During his 28 years on the faculty, he shared his gift for teaching with countless students and a gift of scholarly persuasion that ultimately influenced the United States Supreme Court. He was known for his combination of intellectual liveliness, personal warmth, and generosity in mentoring students and fellow scholars. I am honored to present this year's Lockhart Award to Joshua Goodsman. I almost forgot this part. This is important.
Thank you.
As a law student at Minnesota Law, Joshua developed novel legal arguments leading to the first known reprieve granted by Minnesota Board of Pardons since 1911. He wrote 3 published or forthcoming works: Forward to Leaving Langdale Behind, Reimagining Legal Education for a New Era, 107 Minnesota Law Review, forthcoming 2023, The Diversity Formula, a race-neutral playbook for equitable student assignment, and its application to magnet schools, 107 Minnesota Law Review 415, 2022, Fighting Orthodoxy, Challenging Critical Race Theory Bans and Supporting Critical Thinking in Schools, 2021. Joshua received the Practice Ready Legal Research Book Award and A+ grades in Appellate Advocacy and Legislation and Regulation. He received the Dorothy A. LaRoe Best Brief Award and completed the Professional Essentials Milestone Certificate. Congratulations, Joshua. The Minnesota Law, Equity, and Diversity Award recognizes law students who have made significant contributions advancing equity and diversity through their work, extracurricular activities, and efforts to promote a welcoming and inclusive climate at the law school. I am delighted to present this year's Equity and Diversity Award to the first two recipients, Mercedes Molina. Mercedes, please approach the podium and accept this award. Mercedes Molina was the editor-in-chief of the Minnesota Journal of Law and Inequality, Volume 42. She received the Law and Practice Lippy Award for outstanding performance in lawyering skills, was Ramsey County Bar Association Diversity Scholarship recipient 2021 and 2022, was Miss JD Public Interest Scholarship recipient 2021 and 2022, and was Robina Public Interest Scholar while publishing a wide variety of publications as a law student. The entire time Mercedes was in law school, she also worked part-time with the Texas House of Representatives, managing social media communications, among other things. During the 87th legislative session, a bill she spearheaded for our office, HB 131-2/SB 959, allowing for additional funding to community colleges for workforce training programs, was passed into law. In this current session, the 88th session, she proposed two bills which have been filed by their office, HB 2748 relating to certain procedures concerning welfare of inmates in county jails, and HB 2751 allowing for the use of political campaign contributions to fund child care costs for campaign staffers. Congratulations, Mercedes. Our second recipient of the Equity and Diversity Award is Samia Osman. Samia, please approach the podium and receive your award. Samia entered law school in the fall after George Floyd's murder. As such, you can imagine that it felt strange to go from protesting police brutality and working with community activists to suddenly preparing for 1L classes, all in the midst of a pandemic. Samia, along with some wonderful colleagues, researched, wrote, and published a Minnesota Law Review article that discussed the role of students of color, specifically Black students, in higher education in communities about the law and their rights, in the hope that they can perhaps prevent more senseless deaths at the hands of law enforcement. In an effort to play a role in what many saw as a revolutionary time to end police brutality, Samia was able to share her story on the different ways discrimination presents itself and illustrates how the law is used to both expand and diminish civil rights as we continue to struggle to ensure all people are treated equitably within our society. Congratulations, Samia.
We are now at the stage of the program where we're going to hear from some of our students. First, it is my pleasure to introduce Nico Cast, our LLM class speaker. Nico is originally from Berlin, Germany, and this is his fourth extended experience abroad, having spent a year of high school in Michigan, a year-long volunteer service in Colombia, and a collegiate study abroad in Spain. Nico studied law at Humboldt University in Berlin and then worked at a Berlin law firm in public procurement law and antitrust law before coming to Minnesota law for his LLM degree. With his new Minnesota law degree and his expertise in American law, he will work in the real estate investment team of a large German law firm. When not studying this year, Nico tried several sports that were new to him, including squash and, very appropriate for Minnesota, cross-country skiing. Nico.
Thank you, Dean Jenkins. I feel honored to speak a few words on behalf of this year's LLM students. The LLM class of 2023 is a diverse and exciting group from all over the world. We are judges, attorneys, insolvency administrators, but also movie translators, photographers, and election campaign managers. Despite, or maybe because of, our different cultural backgrounds and home country jurisdictions, we learned from each other. And moreover, we became friends. Now, we are all part of the Minnesota law community, something that will connect us forever. I'm certain that I speak on behalf of all this year's LLM students when I say that we are incredibly grateful for becoming part of this network, one that outshines and stands above LinkedIn by far. The warmth with which faculty members, JD students, and the team of the International Office welcomed and integrated us into the law school is overwhelming. What we have learned and experienced within the last 10 months is incredible. We got to know a new legal system, watch judges at work, and enjoy inspiring discussions and lunch lectures. And when it all got a little too much for us, we could pet cats and dogs. Our JD friends showed us how to outline and properly cite, which is, by the way, a science in itself. And from time to time, you even let us win in a game of ping pong. We got to experience university life much more vivid than what most of us were used to. I remember us talking about situations in which we felt as if we somehow ended up in an American college movie. And at least for me, this is one of those moments here right now. But all that aside, I hope that we were also able to give something back to the school and its amazing community. I'm convinced that as an international student, you have responsibilities. You represent your home country and promote intercultural understanding. Hopefully, we have played a small part in helping the University of Minnesota remain the cosmopolitan and inclusive education institution that it certainly is. Most of us came here without knowing anyone. This might have been slightly scary at first, but it also gave us the unique opportunity to reinvent ourselves and become the people we always wanted to be. Because I can imagine that some of my fellow LLM students were a little less open-minded, less curious, and maybe just slightly less fun back home. I honestly was. This year has shaped us professionally, but also personally. For each of us, whether JD, Master of Science in Patent Law, or LLM, a new stage of life is now upon us. Let's take advantage of the opportunities that new beginnings bring. Graduation weekend marks the end of a very special time that will not reoccur. I'm sure that we will soon look back at this inspiring and unique time here at Minnesota Law. But for now, let's celebrate our achievements and friendships today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Well done.
Thank you, Nico. Now I'd like to introduce the member of the class of 2023 who will present the JD graduation address. Mika Standing Soldier. She is an enrolled citizen of the Oglala Lakota Nation from Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Another double gopher, she received her BA in English from the university in 2017. In law school, she's worked at the Initiative for a Representative First Amendment at Harvard Law School and at the Science, Health, and Information Clinic at Columbia Law School, advocating for FDA enforcement of clinical trial transparency. She interned at the Legal Rights Center, a community-driven nonprofit law firm here in Minneapolis, as a first-year law student, and she will return to the Legal Rights Center, but not as an intern, but as a staff attorney in the fall. At Minnesota Law, she serves as the vice president of the Native American Law Student Association. She served on the board of the Diversity Belonging Affinity Council, and she is a recipient of the 2023 President's Student Leadership and Service Award.
Good morning, everyone. How are we feeling? Good. This space and this moment is a time of celebration, but it's also a time of chaos, of wardrobe malfunctions, and of finding parking spots. So I wanted to start us off by doing some breathing. I'm serious. So everyone relax your shoulders, shake them out. Shake them out. Okay. And breathe in. Breathe out. One more time. Breathe in and breathe out. Thank you. I'm grateful to be here with faculty, alumni, friends, family, and of course, my fellow classmates. We chose to struggle and labor and outline for 3 years, and now it's time to rejoice and spend some time in the sun. And personally speaking, there aren't enough vitamin D supplements in the world to recover from all those hours spent in a law school basement. But hey, at least Minnesota is a really warm place to live. Kidding, I know. You know, I'm often asked why I choose to stay here, why endure the potholes and surprise blizzards in April. And that's easy. I'm a big believer in community. I believe in collective growth and liberation for everyone. And I know Minnesota isn't the easiest place to live, and I'm sure all of you learned about Minnesota Nice pretty early on. I get it. But this place is also filled with loving communities who hold each other through all of life's moments. This place is a testament to revolution and justice carried on the backs of the most vulnerable and marginalized people. I'm proud to be a part of the Twin Cities community. And I'm proud to be a part of the community I see seated before me. We've been through it. From Zoom happy hour in the dining room, then the living room, and then back to the dining room, or zealously defending a union-busting grocery store for lawn practice, and transitioning from virtual to in-person classes, traversing through the unexplored terrain of life in a global pandemic, and realizing that you're all so much taller in person. We saw the power of student advocacy in action, like the installment of gender-neutral restrooms. We took action in a city responsible for igniting nationwide protests after the murder of George Floyd. Our demands for accountability in the Twin Cities community and in our school led to the creation of a critical leadership role, and we welcome Dean G as the school's first Assistant Dean of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. The late Bell Hooks said that all too often we think of community in terms of being with folks like ourselves, the same class, same race, same ethnicity, same social standing, and the like. She said, we need to be wary. We need to work against the danger of evoking something that we don't challenge ourselves to actually practice. I see this community as a direct manifestation of that challenge. We are all vastly different, and yet we sit here together, having achieved what many children dream about becoming when they're older. There's something to be said about the ways that we've held each other through the failures, the successes, the grief, the doubts, the COVID tests, and the cold calls of law school. That is a community of love, and we acknowledge that today. We also acknowledge the support and guidance of those around us. I want to say thank you to the faculty for providing us with knowledge and insight into your worlds of expertise. Thank you to the administration and staff who provide stability and day-to-day function, which often goes unseen. Thank you to all the loved ones who traveled to be here today and celebrate these amazing graduates. Thank you to my family and friends who always answered my intrusive thoughts of inadequacy and imposter syndrome with love and reassurance. Thank you to my dad. Thank you to my dad, who taught me the lessons and wisdoms of the universe. And wherever his spirit is watching from, I know he's proud. Thank you to Quimby and Outline Depot. If you know, you know. It's easy to disregard the fruits of our labor. As law students, we often brush off our success in preparation for the next big challenge. But I want you all to look around the room at the faces of the people who love you and are here in this moment to celebrate you. We're here for you, and we see you. To the graduates who stand in a long line of lawyers, who must hold themselves to excellence and find confidence in their own career path, we see you. To the graduates who began at a later age, who challenged the traditional model of a student, and who probably suffered the most after a long night out, but still finished their readings, or didn't, we see you. To the graduates who navigated law school with children, who carried the responsibility of being a student while providing attention and care and love to tiny humans, we see you. To the graduates who have a disability, visible or invisible, who confronted the shortcomings of accessibility in institutions and who had to advocate not for accommodations, but for resources necessary to your journey as a law student, who face undue prejudice from a world that demands perfection. We see you. To the graduates who are the first in their family to hold this title, who carry both a remarkable honor and obligation on their shoulders from class to class, who know that their degree is not their own, but a shared resource of liberation for their community, we see you. To the Black and brown and Indigenous graduates who live the consequences of the law that we are taught, who grieve the realities behind the abstractions and hypotheticals, who understand the isolation and frustration of practicing within a system not meant for you, we see you. And to the graduates whose native language is not reflected in our textbooks or statutes, who must translate the riddles and complexities of the law, and who keep one language on their tongue and the other in their heart every day, we see you. I'll end with the late Toni Morrison. She said, "When you get these jobs that you have been so brilliantly trained for, remember that your real job is that if you are free, you need to free somebody else. If you have power, then your job is to empower somebody else." So, congratulations to the class of 2023. May we grow and rest and inspire and thrive in our respective jurisdictions. And know that wherever you go, whatever you do, you'll always have community in Minnesota. Thank you.
Thank you, Mika. Micah, sorry. It's in my notes. It is now my honor to introduce our distinguished alumnus and keynote speaker. He's an attorney, a change maker, a bridge builder, an advocate, a devoted public servant, and wait for it, a lawyer leader. Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, class of '90. Okay, so seriously, everyone knows that I talk a lot about lawyer leaders, but it's because I deeply believe in the ways that lawyers make a difference. The ways lawyers combine legal acumen, integrity, and soft skills to make a powerful impact in all kinds of settings and contexts. It's an amazing thing. And I especially love it when one of our law school graduates so beautifully embodies the concept. Keith Ellison is the 30th Attorney General of Minnesota, elected in 2018 and re-elected in 2022. As the people's lawyer and chief legal officer of the state, he is committed to helping Minnesotans afford their lives and live with dignity, safety, and respect. He is the first African American and first Muslim American to be elected to statewide office in Minnesota. From 2007 to 2019, he represented Minnesota's 5th congressional district in the U.S. House of Representatives, where he championed consumer, worker, environmental, and civil and human rights. He served for 12 years on the House Financial Services Committee, where he helped oversee the financial services industry, the housing industry, and Wall Street, among others. While in Congress, he founded the Congressional Antitrust Caucus and the Congressional Consumer Justice Caucus. Before being elected to Congress, Attorney General Ellison served in the Minnesota House of Representatives. He was an attorney specializing in civil rights and defense law, including 5 years as executive director of the Legal Rights Center, where Micah will be starting her career. Remember earlier when I talked about remaining part of this community, staying connected with it and its people, and supporting and nurturing the institution? Well, Keith Ellison does just that. He's always an advocate and supporter for his alma mater. He's greatly deepened our institutional ties with the AG's office, partnered with the law school in numerous programs and initiatives. He often speaks on campus about issues of the day, and at the law school, he serves as part of our adjunct faculty, regularly teaching public interest advocacy and the State Attorney General, a very popular course. We are especially honored to have a national leader in public service, a distinguished graduate of the law school here with us today. Let's give him one more very warm Minnesota Law welcome. Keith Ellison.
Dean Jenkins, thank you very much for that very kind introduction. And I'm so impressed with these brilliant students you got here, man. Let's hear it for all of you one more time. And let me also say thank you and acknowledge the faculty. I mean, between 1987 and 1990, the faculty helped me try to learn a little bit of something about law, and I'm grateful for it. I'm particularly gratified to see my professor, Carol Chomsky, right here, still doing it, and Dean Stein as well. So they're at it still, and that's what you call a lifelong commitment. Thank you, faculty, each one of you. And let me also say thank you again. I'll add my voice to the parents and to the children of the graduates, to the family members, to the friends. You all were their system of support, which helped get them through. And I know you graduates are grateful to them, but I think you all deserve another hearty round of applause as we move forward. So, a really good friend of mine, her name is Carla Shelberg. She was a family attorney, a family law attorney, and she was known for saying at the end of her day, and not every day, but at many days, some days, she would say, I was a good lawyer today. Now, she didn't say it every day, because some days she wouldn't necessarily agree with that. But there were some days when she would say that, and it was not a self-congratulation. it was a sober assessment of how she did that day. Carla meant so much to me, and she died just last September. And I'll never forget the words that she left with me, because she taught me something very important about what all of you are about to embark on. You know, she said, every day and asked herself how she did. Was she a good lawyer today? And sometimes she was able to say that she was one. And I want to urge you, as you go into your legal practice, to ask yourself that same question every day. And don't ever just rush to it. Carla never rushed to it. Carla was not one to engage in self-congratulation. In fact, she was probably more inclined to self-deprecation. She was hard on herself. She had high standards, and she didn't always meet them. But she always asked herself, bravely and honestly, whether she was a good lawyer today. And sometimes she got to tell herself she was. And I wish that for you. So when I went to law school, I had a few folks, Carol, a friend of mine named Judge Lionel Norris, and a few others, who sometimes we got out of the classroom and we talk about what it really is like to practice law. But usually, we didn't spend our time on talking about what it was really like to practice law. What we usually talked about was, how to do legal research. What's the difference between collateral estoppel and equitable estoppel? What is the statutes of frauds or the rule in perpetuity? I still don't know that. I mean, the truth is, we would study law stuff. And we would study like we were about to become appellate judges, rather than folks who ordinary other folks would come to solve the most serious problems in their lives. When Carla asked herself whether she was a good lawyer that day, the first thing to understand about that is that Carla understood what she was doing and the environment in which she was doing it. She understood that lawyers are literally in the business of conflict. That is what we do. We are creatures of it. So when the dean says problem solving, the operative phrase is problem, right? We specialize in dealing with problems. And when you deal with problems, you become the repository of people's stress, fear, and emotion. And you have got to learn how to deal with it. Because you are a specialist in conflict, you got to learn how to get comfortable with it. You got to learn how to bathe in it, roll around in it, deal with it. Because your clients cannot afford for you to be freaking out when they are. People can crack all the lawyer jokes they want, but remember, when people crack lawyer jokes, they're talking about somebody else's lawyer, not their own. Good lawyers deal with people who are dealing with problems, real problems. And once you recognize you are in the conflict prevention business, then you have to recognize that you are in the business of human beings in conflict. Stop right here and understand. Every single one of us in this room is absolutely and thoroughly unique. Everybody, we can look, you can spit in a tube, and we can tell out of billions of people, that this tube is the one that you and you alone spat in. I mean, think about it. We can take a print of your ear, it's absolutely unique. You can do a voice print, it's unique. With that much uniqueness among the human family, people are bound to have different perspectives, different ways of looking at the world, different approaches, and those differences mean that they are going to clash. You didn't create it, but it's your job to somehow fix it, because you're a lawyer, and that's your job. You know, there's one thing about representing people as a lawyer. Almost no one comes to you when they're having a good day. The other end of that phone call is not somebody who just said, hey, I just want to let you know everything's fine. You know, I remember the one time I used to say, well, this is just a conflict-free thing, was when I would very rarely do adoptions, and Carla would do them all the time. But even then, there was conflict. Some old parent is like, wait a minute, I might not have my parental rights established, but I want to do it now. Okay, conflict, yeah, we knew you were coming. We knew you were on your way. Us lawyers, we deal in upset. That is the world we operate in, and guess what? It doesn't matter what profession or field you're in. If you're a divorce lawyer, absolutely you're going to be dealing with conflict. And think about it this way. You're dealing with people who once pledged lifelong love to each other, now fighting over candlesticks. You know, I mean, every human emotion is involved in that conflict, and it's your job to navigate it through to your client. You might think that your client's emotions would be less intense if you're representing somebody in a commercial setting. Not true. Somebody has labored, maybe for years, trying to figure out this one product that they're going to put out there, or this one system, and it is absolutely their brilliant idea, which they have paid for through time and money and everything, and it's your job to protect it. Let me tell you, that's stress. Or maybe you're like, oh, you're a bond lawyer, you don't have any stress. Oh yeah, you only have the city's economic development program riding on your shoulders. Or maybe you're incorporating a business or defending a business. You know, people put their heart and soul into that business. They put maybe their life savings and other people's life savings into that business, and it's your job to make sure it doesn't go down the tubes. My point is, I don't care what kind of law you're doing. You're dealing in human conflict with human emotion, and you've got to get used to it. And even if you're a law professor, all you do is study conflict. How many cases do you have that don't have a V between one name and another? That's conflict, folks. So that's what we do. So the question is how to learn how to deal with it and to figure out what to do with it and to preserve yourself as you do it. You know, and I can tell you, you know, as a criminal defense lawyer of many years, you sit in that jail cell, somebody accused of murder, they may not have anybody in this world who's rooting for them other than you. And it's your job to do so. And you got your family members going to say, how can you represent those people who are guilty? And somehow, you're pretty comfortable with it. And you also, as a prosecutor, you might have to, you're dealing with a grieving victim whose loved one has been killed, murdered, ripped off, raped, and you have to be there for them. And they might not be your client, but the public is your client, and they're part of the public. So that's the reality. How do you be a good lawyer when your clients don't know what motions to file? They don't know what motions you're supposed to file. They're not judging you based on the motion that you did or did not file, because they don't know. They're not judging you based on that piece of paper that you're going to hang on the wall next week. They're not judging you even on the law school rankings. Their decision of whether you're a good lawyer is based on other things. And one of them, and I'm telling you now, is going to be communication. Good lawyers let their clients know what's going on. But I'm going to tell you, they're in conflict. And people in conflict don't hear very well. You can say, I told you that this was the situation. And they're going to be like, all I heard is that you're going to get me out of this. Selective hearing is rampant among clients. So you've got to find other ways to communicate, and you've got to communicate a lot, and you've got to communicate in writing. The number one reason that lawyers find themselves in trouble with the Professional Responsibility Board is poor communication. Did you know that? I'm glad I'm telling you now. So you've got to communicate. And to be a good communicator, you've got to be a good listener. A good lawyer is a good listener. Good listeners know how to shut it. Good listeners, 2 ears, 1 mouth. There's no class in this. Is there? Maybe there is nowadays, but when I went to law school, we didn't have a class in listening. But let me tell you, you are going to need those skills, and it's going to be very important. And you need to actively listen. And you've got to listen for what they say and what they don't say. You've got to listen to their emotion. You've got to say, are you understanding what I'm saying? Let me tell you a quick little story about my grandpa. My grandfather was born in 1896 in Sardis, Georgia. And when he was growing up, to send a young African-American boy to school would be considered a waste of money. He was supposed to be in them fields, and that was the highest, best use for someone like him. Anyway, he moved to Detroit, worked in the auto plants, and bought himself a couple of rental properties. I didn't know my grandfather's life story, but he used to tell me, I need you to cut the grass on the house over there on this street. So I used to do it all the time. And then he used to say, I need you to write out the receipts for Mrs. Johnson, who lives there, and Miss McGillicuddy, who lives there. Little did I know, one day I'm at home after pushing a lawnmower for about 5 or 6 hours, and I'm rummaging through the kitchen, and I say to my mom, how come Grandpa always has me write out the receipts? And my mom, who's an extremely gentle person, goes, what did you say to your grandfather? I'm like, I asked him why I needed to write out the receipts and how come he didn't do it. And he said because he didn't have his glasses. I said, Grandpa, the glasses are sitting right up on your head. And she said, don't you embarrass your grandfather. I said, embarrass? Never would I do such a thing deliberately. And she said to me, he didn't get to go to school like you. They didn't let people like him, like us, go to school when he was a kid. And you could have knocked me over with a feather. It never occurred to me. I thought my grandfather was the smartest person in the world, and yet he couldn't read and write. Not well enough for what he was asking me to do. Some of your clients are not literate. Always volunteer to read the thing to them. It's important to be sensitive to who your client is and where they're going through. If they've gone through trauma, they're not going to hear you very well. And part of what you got to do is listen. They may not have a class on that. Maybe they do, but you need to really focus on it because you're about to be out there in just a few months. Lawyers also are people who work for others. When you represent somebody, you represent. That means you're not first. That means they are. That means they are entitled and have a right to you putting them first. That's what lawyers do. And so it's really not about you winning the case. They won the case. It's not about you getting the deal done. They got the deal done. You helped them. This is extremely important because we live in a world where self-congratulation is like the order of the day. But as a good lawyer, you put somebody else's interest before your own. And if you ever find yourself belt-notching convictions as a prosecutor, you've made it about you. If you ever find yourself celebrating how you got the deal done, well, wait a minute, you didn't invent the product. All you did is make sure that nobody ripped it off from your client. If you ever find yourself congratulating yourself too much, always understand that you're a representative of someone else. Very important when you consider being a good lawyer. And your clients can tell. Good lawyers are selfless. They put someone else's needs above their own. Also, good lawyers care so much about being a good lawyer that they don't completely identify with their client to the point where they can't really help their client. If somebody gets shot in the street, you can care all you want, but they need medical attention, not empathy necessarily. They need somebody who knows how to close that wound. Your clients are not going to be your friends. And if they are, you should send them to someone else. because you're too close to it. You need to be objective enough to tell them the truth, to tell them that this statute won't let you do what you're trying to do. And if we do it, we're going to be in trouble. And here's the memo that I'm going to give you so that when you remember, so you will remember what I told you. That might cost you a client. They might walk out the door, but let me tell you, if they do, that's okay. You got to preserve your integrity. Because if something goes south, they will blame you. I'm not kidding. I don't know if this is in the classes or not, but this is real talk. You know, let me tell you, you know, if you engage in the lawyering business, it is very important for you to remember that you have to also be creative. Being a good lawyer is being creative. You can't just say, well, I read the statute, it says no. That's not trying very hard. Good lawyers are creative people. I'm telling you, you think you're just getting a JD or a LLM today? You're getting a joint degree, JD and MFA. You have to be a master's in fine arts. And that means a little acting, a little selling, and that means thinking about solutions that are not apparent. This is what good lawyers do. You know, being a lawyer is a very special thing to be. And I hope each one of you are proud of it. I know I am. I graduated from this law school in 1990, and I can tell you it's the best professional decision I ever made. And it's one of the best decisions I ever made in all of my life. And I hope that you can say the same. I have a feeling you will. The world needs good lawyers because the world's not about to stop being in conflict. The world needs good lawyers because this world, in fact, there may not ever be a time in the human history when it is as easy to distract masses of people given technology. We need people who can solve problems, who can bring folks together. We need them in the courtroom. We need them everywhere. We need you. You know, and I just said, you know, and I've spent a lot of time talking about the importance of knowing that good lawyers are people who recognize they specialize in managing human beings, human relationships and conflict. I made that point. But good lawyers also know something else about the law. The law, folks, is what people in power say it is. I don't mean to be cynical. If we're in a democracy and the democracy is operating properly, the law is what the people say it is. If we're in a monarchy, it's what the king says it is. If we're in what we're in, which is a democracy, which is heavily weighted toward the rich, it's kind of, you know, you wouldn't be surprised to see the law comes out the way that it does. But the most important thing to understand about the law is that if you organize and if you work hard, you can shape the law. Don't ever, as a lawyer, say, well, the lawyer is this, that's what it's going to be, that's all it's going to be. You can argue for a different law, and you probably should. So remember that, you know, being a good lawyer is understanding the law, not just memorizing what some statute says or what some case says, but also understanding where the law could go and maybe should go. We do it every day at the Attorney General's office. If we don't like what the law is, we argue that it should be different. And sometimes we win and sometimes we don't. But we never stop trying. And if you have any doubt about what I just said about the law is what people in power say it is, look, about a year ago, Roe v. Wade was the law of the land. Now, the Dobbs decision is like that. I'm telling you that as lawyers, the law, we don't really even know what the law is. The law is what they decide at the next time they weigh in on the question. So never stop pushing for what you believe the law is. That means being a good lawyer. Now, the last thing I want to say about being a good lawyer is good lawyers, not all lawyers, good lawyers take care of themselves. If you are the repository of all that stress, what do you think that's going to do to you? There's a reason why alcohol and drugs can become a problem for many lawyers. There's a group called Lawyers for Lawyers, who what they do is they step up and they say, hey, I'm here for you. You can't absorb all of that and not have it affect you. Care about your colleagues enough to tell them that they need to take a break. We live and work in a profession where workaholism is somewhat of a thing that is admired. It shouldn't be. It's not making you better. It might make you cranky. It might make you miss things you should catch. But lawyer, you've got to make sure if you have a spiritual practice, don't stop doing it. If your spiritual practice is to walk in the woods, then walk in the woods. Work out, look out for your body, because that stress can affect you in all kinds of ways, high blood pressure, everything else. Do not, as a brand new law student, think it's not going to apply to you. The best way to be a good lawyer and stay a good lawyer so that you can be great for your clients is to look out for yourself. I want you to know on this day and at this time, I'm telling you, look out for yourself, look out for each other. What you do is emotionally draining and difficult and hard. And some people will turn to self-medication in an unhealthy way. You need to be on the lookout for that. Sorry to be so lectury, but I'm trying to look out for you. So let me just say again, now before you all start thinking about, what I just told you, and maybe you're thinking, well, wow, why did I get into this thing? It's so stressful. Let me just remind you that there is probably nothing more rewarding in this world than being of assistance to your fellow human beings. You get to do that. You get to do it in an amazing way. And that's what a lawyer is. Graduating today is confirmation that you've got the basics down. But trust me, the legal education that you got, that I got 3 decades ago, is an education that I am still pursuing. It just started me down a path. It didn't end the path. Always keep on digging and to know more about what you're doing. Just remember, the best chess player in the world started out just knowing how to move the pieces. Now you know how to move the pieces. To be a chess master is going to take a lifetime. So never, ever abandon your study of law. But you can be that chess master. And the people who will be the best judge of it will be your clients. And one day, you will look them and look yourself in the eye and you say, I was a good lawyer today. And when you say that to yourself, you will know that it is based on a whole lot of self-evaluation, and it is because you were able to play an instrumental, perhaps indispensable role in the life of somebody who really needed you. So good luck, all the best, and go be a good lawyer.
Thank you, Attorney General Ellison, for that terrific speech and for being a great friend and supporter of the law school. Now, we have finally reached the moment you've all been waiting for, the conferring of the degrees. Regent Mayron, will you please join me at the podium for this momentous occasion?
Love to. Will the candidates please rise for the degrees of Juris Doctor, Masters of Law, and Masters of Science in Patent Law? And now the words I love to speak and you all love to hear. Upon the recommendation of the faculty and by the authority of the Regents of the University of Minnesota, I now confer upon you the degrees for which you have qualified. Thank you.
Congratulations. You may now move the tassels on your tams to signify your accomplishment. The JD class of 2023 has selected Professor Brian Bix and Professor Mitch Zamoff to present their class. Director of International and Graduate Programs, Kara Galvin, will present the LLM class, and Professor Christopher Tarosky, class of 98, will present the Masters of Science in Patent Law class. You may be seated, except for those of you who are about to make their way up orderly onto the stage.
It's our honor to present the JD class of 2023. Ahmed Abbas.
Danielle Ahmed.
Youssef Al-Masad.
Carlos Alonso Gayon.
Mesa Al-Kasi.
Sove Underberg.
Grace Joanna Anderson.
M.B. Apker.
Anna Backen.
Samantha Bonhart.
Andrew Byrne.
Elizabeth Misa Burnaby.
Sadie Bedding.
Andrew Biddison.
Natalie Bielenberg.
Victoria Blakeboro.
Bailey Blythe.
Elizabeth Bovell.
Ellen Brady.
Chelsea Brandt.
Jacob Brecky.
Sarah Brickson.
Jennifer Brown.
Samantha Brunn.
William Brunner.
Samantha Buckman.
Olivia Carroll.
Sarah Cohn.
Claire Colby.
Sarah Coleman.
Abraham Colinet.
Kenneth Cooper.
Carly Cortina.
Madeline Cox Guerra.
Jacqueline Cuellar.
Benjamin Dow.
Sharisti Deer.
Sean Downey.
Michael Duchesne.
David Edholm.
Andrew Eggers.
Kylie Avons.
Alex Feltus.
Ryan Freeman.
Ben Gleekle.
Rachel Glissman.
Carissa Grapes.
Teresa Green.
Rob Grimsley.
Alexandra Gust.
Laura Gustafson.
Jason Gutierrez.
Joshua Gutzman.
Douglas Harmon.
Faith Hemingway.
Zach Hennon.
Hong Her.
Mary Hill.
Vanessa Hurd.
Bridget Hoffman.
Noah Hummel Hall.
Lottie James.
Victor Hugo Jimenez.
Caleb Johnson.
Joshua Gyring.
Julia Casboom.
Mark Caskey.
Jessica Keller.
Eleanor Kerala.
Henry Killen.
Jebe Kewan Ajayi.
Minji Kim.
Michael Kinane.
Lainey Kraus.
Katja Lang.
Shelby Lazon.
Calvin Lee.
Greg Lee.
Jack Lemcool.
Kristen Lewis.
Robert Lindsay.
Eric Walker.
Marine Layson.
Dustin Loosebrook.
Alec Liebeck.
Jet Malkowski.
Catherine Mayers.
Owen Masika.
Hannah McDonald.
Andrew McGill.
Mason Medeiros.
Scott Meehan.
Connor Meinke.
Jennifer Melton.
Aramis Mendez.
Max Meyer.
Ryan Henri Mile.
Adam Michael.
Laura Milstein.
Aisha Mita.
Mercedes Guadalupe Molina.
Grace Moore.
Molly Nelson Regan.
Chao Nguyen.
Andrew Nicotra Riley.
Caleb Nygren.
Nick Nigro.
A.J. Knoll.
Jesse Noltemeyer.
Michael Notke.
Elena O'Brien.
Alex O'Connor.
Daniel O'Day.
Justin Oakland.
Amy Marissa Ortega.
Kim Ortland.
Samia Osman.
Trish Palermo.
Juhi Park.
R. Benjamin Parker.
Claire Polson.
Nicholas Penn.
Ricardo Gabriel Perez.
Valerie Perkins.
Woo! Emma Peterson.
Sydney Peterson.
Adler Pierce.
Jimmy Pierce.
Sarah Pistilli.
Jacob Polinsky.
Christopher Porter.
Kendall Pryor.
Victor Chu.
Leah Reese.
Austin Renolette.
Anika Riza.
Jocelyn Rhymes.
Anna Ritter.
Lexi Robinson.
Zachary Robele.
Eric Rogers.
Jared Rowland.
Christopher Ruiz.
Marina Rutan.
Maria Saraceno Lowe.
Atley Satterback.
Dylan Saul.
Joey Scanlon.
Alexander Screeton.
Levi Seidel.
Catherine Sievert.
Justice Shannon.
Elizabeth Sheriff.
Eric Sievert.
Julia Silverstein.
Chase Slaslinski.
Sonia Smirud.
Christopher Smith.
Ellison Snyder.
Lainey Sprouse.
Micah Standing Soldier.
Kaylin Rose Stanek.
Haley Steele.
Megan Stembridge.
Hannah Stenerson.
Zachary Taylor.
Xana Tennant.
Stephanie Terra.
Kristen Thompson.
Eric Thorsheim.
Rihanna Turgarud.
Laura Tromshagen.
Madison Turner.
Harriet Van Meter.
Michael Van Ryn.
Stephen Vincent.
Stephen Vogel.
Madison Wadsworth.
Haley Wallace.
Emily Wang.
Melissa Watton.
Eric Weathers.
Chase Weber.
Alida Weidenzy.
Elizabeth Wellhausen.
Thorin Wenner.
Cedar Weicker.
Emmanuel Williams.
Libby Wilson.
Helen Winters.
Sharon Zhao. That is your JD class of 2023.
Congratulations. It is now my honor to present the LLM Master of Laws class of 2023. Akuyo Agbenega Turner. Eloise Battistini. Anil Chan Chatinkaya. Mohammed A. Hassan. Stephanie Huang. Nico Kost. Yangbai Lin. Ladoa Laungard. Fei Fan Luo. Shagek Manjikian. Hugo Richard McElligot. Ting Meng. I keep it. Ian Musinguzi. Maureen Oriwell. Furkan Okunzaski. Katya Schickel. Ansario Bernard Serrant. Abby Shem. Steve Varghese. Julie Vivier. Zore Zakiani. Fiona Jun. Haishao Zhuo. Congratulations, LLM graduates.
I'm Chris Tarosky. It's my honor to present the 2023 Masters of Science in Patent Law graduates. Emma Amick, Morgan Gerhardt, Cole Jurek, Bernadette Pauman, Emma Tenpass. Would you please join me in congratulating all the graduates, JD, LLM, and MS, class of 23, University of Minnesota Law School.
Congratulations, graduates. All right, one more round of applause. It won't hurt. Class of 2023, you came to us as students, and today you leave us as lawyers and professionals. But of course, you never really leave us or each other. I'm so proud of you, proud to have been able to share this journey with you. My time as dean will end with all of you, and so you all have a very special place in my heart. So thank you. If you remember nothing else from today's ceremony, years from now, please remember this short phrase. It's both my charge to you as your dean, but also my wish for you as someone who's grown very fond of you all. Please go out in the world and do well and do good. Congratulations. Thanks to everyone, distinguished guests, family, friends, everyone who joined us today to help our class of 2023 celebrate. To conclude this ceremony, please stand and join in singing the University of Minnesota anthem as you are able, led by members of our Tort musical group and the Stone Arch Brass. I'm going to thank them in advance. The lyrics to the anthem are printed on your program, page 1 of the program. Thank you, distinguished guests, family, friends, everyone who helped celebrate our graduates. We are so proud of the class of 2023. We ask that the audience please remain seated until the faculty leads the class of 2023 out of the auditorium. Then you can find your graduate in the lobby or your designated meeting place. This concludes our ceremony. Thank you. Congratulations.